Hey everyone, it's Lucky with Unfiltered Lucky. And today I want to talk a little bit about the information that Ann Taylor put out there in Bryan Kohberger's response to the state's motion to limit testimony. Now, it's not a very long response, so I'm not going to read through it, but I did want to talk about a few things. So the defense is basically challenging the probable cause affidavit, and they should. We've talked about this in previous videos because, in my opinion, the prosecution is trying to sweep all previous information from the beginning under the rug and pretend like it never really happened. As much as the prosecution is trying to downplay this PCA, it is very important. It was used to obtain warrants, and these warrants were used to arrest Bryan Kohberger, destroy his parents' house in Pennsylvania, search his car, his apartment, his office, and his cell phone. So it's kind of a big deal. And it's very important that the information within the PCA is accurate. If the information in the PCA isn't accurate, then that means that investigators presented the court with false or unconfirmed information in order to obtain these warrants. Warrants basically allow law enforcement to skirt around your rights. So the means in which law enforcement uses in order to obtain these warrants is very important. The information that investigators used in the beginning is still very relevant. It's relevant because it was used to arrest Bryan Kohberger. Now, the prosecution is trying to say, well, that's old information. We're not using that information anymore. So they're basically just trying to sweep that under the rug. Let's use the IGG, for example. So we know that investigators found a knife sheath at the crime scene, and they were able to collect a very small amount of touch DNA from this knife sheath. So basically what they did was they turned this touch DNA over to a familytree.com website who processed this touch DNA, and by the process of elimination, as well as violating some innocent people's rights, in my opinion, they determined that this DNA belonged to Bryan Kohberger. Now, when Bryan Kohberger was arrested, they also took DNA from a cheek swab. So they had his actual DNA, which they compared to the IGG information. And that's how they linked Bryan Kohberger to this knife sheath. Now, later on, they said, we're not going to use that IGG. But how do you not use the IGG if that's what you used to compare to Bryan Kohberger's actual DNA? If you don't have the IGG, let's say they throw out the IGG, then what do you have to compare Bryan Kohberger's cheek swab to? Nothing. So they did use this IGG information. So how do you just go back and say, well, we're not going to introduce it in court, so it's like it just never happened? But it did happen. And this information that the prosecution wants you to forget about is the same information that they used to arrest Bryan Kohberger. There was information that was given to investigators, and that's why investigators zeroed in on Bryan Kohberger. Now, in this response, Ann Taylor is questioning the reliability and the integrity of this informant. You know, what did the informant get out of this? What was the informant's motivation to turn over this information? Informants are not always the most reliable people. A lot of times these informants are criminals who have committed crimes, and they're trying to trade information for leniency on their own sentence. So basically, Ann Taylor is questioning the reliability and the integrity of this informant. She's also basically asking if investigators just took this information and ran with it, just put it in the PCA so that they could obtain a search warrant. She wants to know that this informant is credible. She wants to know that law enforcement confirmed this informant's information before they used it to obtain an arrest warrant. Anybody can say anything. So that information needs to be confirmed. And if that information wasn't confirmed and the PCA is inaccurate, then that means that investigators obtained an arrest warrant under false pretenses. The manner in which investigators conducted this investigation and collected evidence is really not that cut and dry. Actually, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And to top it all off, they don't have any evidence to support it. Right now, the probable cause affidavit is irrelevant because the prosecution does not possess the evidence to support their claims in this PCA, which is a problem because law enforcement cannot just do whatever they want. Just because they wear a badge does not give them the right to search your home, your car, or your cell phone. They need probable cause. They need this probable cause affidavit to obtain a search warrant. Now, if they're just making up information and just pulling information out of the air and including it in the PCA in order to obtain a warrant under false pretenses, then that's a major problem. That's a major violation of your rights. And I believe that this is what Ann Taylor is getting to. She wants to know that the probable cause was on the up and up, that it wasn't just something that was said by some informant and never verified, or something that law enforcement just had a hunch about, so they included it in the PCA. No, she wants solid evidence of what is in this probable cause affidavit. And she wants to know what led law enforcement to arrest her client. It's crazy that we're this far into this case and the defense is still asking the prosecution to provide information about how they arrested Bryan Kohberger. So now we're going back to Ann Taylor's question. How did law enforcement zero in on her client? She wants to know that the information that's in the probable cause affidavit is accurate. And if it's not accurate, then there's a problem, because this is the information that investigators used in order to capture Bryan Kohberger. So Ann Taylor and the defense, I believe, are very skeptical of this prosecution. They don't trust them, and I don't blame them, especially after they received, video clips of what's supposed to be Bryan Kohberger's white Hyundai Elantra driving around the King Roadhouse. But in those clips, the audio has been manipulated. So why is the prosecution manipulating evidence? Why are they altering the information that they're presenting to the defense? That's shady, very shady. So I think that's a very clear indication to Ann Taylor that she needs to be skeptical about this prosecution's intentions, because they do not seem to be working on the up and up. There's also mention of this narcotics dog. Now, I think most of us assumed that canines were used in this investigation, so that didn't really surprise me that much. But Ann Taylor is challenging this canine's ability to detect narcotics, and how good is this dog at doing its job. I don't feel as though Ann Taylor would be challenging, the findings of this narcotics dog unless it discovered illegal substances. So we've heard throughout this investigation from people around these crimes that this didn't have anything to do with narcotics. But why would they be using narcotics canines if this had nothing to do with illegal substances? Also, the defense cites a lot of previous court cases in this response. And I went to all of those court cases because they reference these cases for a reason. So I went to these court cases and read about them because I wanted to see why the defense was using them as reference. And something that I found interesting is that every single one of these cases was a narcotics case. So it could just be coincidence that they all were cases, past court cases about narcotics. Or we could be slowly finding out that narcotics were, a lot more involved than we were originally led to believe. Now, I'm not saying to what extent, but we know that it's very possible that illegal substances played a part, especially if Ann Taylor is challenging the findings of this narcotics dog. So that was very interesting because I feel like as more information begins to come out, I have a feeling that we're going to start hearing more and more about illegal substances and about how they may have played a part in these Idaho 4 crimes. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I really do appreciate it. And if you liked my video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned for my next video, and we'll see you next time.